So we are here today to talk about the De-Clot shot. And I'm very actually excited. I'm very proud to be presenting this evening. And the presentation is based on evidence-based medicine. And what we mean by that is that there is conclusive research. There is evidence in that we've physically seen improvements, for example, under the microscope, with the quantum skio device, which is an FDA-approved, validated, verified device, and in the remarks and feedback from the clients and patients that we treat. So it's really time, I think, that people raise their awareness to this marvelous, marvelous substance, completely natural, and of course, filled with Ormus, which is the 365 Healthy by Choice flagship product, and in most of our products, simply because they are pure, natural, and unique, still in the nature-made form, still recognizable by the body's innate wisdom and the body's innate ability to heal. So very, very exciting to have this product in our range, in our toolkit. And you know, with us, everything has a very important part to play in a very holistic jigsaw puzzle, if you like, as we put the pieces of the body back together, as we reset, restore, rejuvenate the body. We make use of a potentiation of a variety of herbs, superfoods, oils, minerals to raise the life force of the body, give the body a higher charge, raise the battery. In other words, let the light bulb glow brightly. So, you know, getting back to our science lectures and things like that, we are a battery. We have electrodes, a positive and a negative electrode. We are those electrodes hanging in the beaker with a volume of liquid. And in that volume of liquid are our minerals. So minerals are the beginning and end of our charge, the charge of the body. So we will consume electron-dense, mineral-rich foods in order to achieve a really high life force. And everything we're doing is about life force. So we would want to infuse electron-dense nutrition into our body from the sun in the form of protons directly into our skin, where we photosynthesize, and we use the rays, the healing rays, exactly as we need for our body, in the form of plants, photosynthesis, and in the form of earthing energy, water, hydration, very high frequency foods in the form of medicinal mushrooms, which we spoke about already, the reishi, the chaga, the shiitake, the lion's mane, the cordyceps, the algae, the blue-green algae, spirulina, chlorella, the pollens, propolises, royal jellies, the organically grown sprouts, the organically grown seeds and nuts. So those are our highest frequency food forms. Obviously, Ormus Gold is the highest frequency I've ever measured on the Armstrong scale. It's about 23,000 for those of you up on the Bova scale story. So that's very high frequency. And then the superfoods. And then, you know, coming down to more the raw dairy, raw milk, green juices, smoothies, and things like that. So they would then be in a position to optimize health, but that is not maximizing health. That is not total life force. We're talking really about extreme health here, 365 days of the year. And, you know, operating interdimensionally, making sure the scalar wave around us is in a perfect golden mean vortex. For those of you who've been following me, you know what I mean. So, and by the way, there's hundreds of YouTube training videos on my channel, my YouTube channel, Jane McKenzie. So if you're feeling like you're not catching up or you want to know a little bit more, you know, go there and have a look. There's also a library on the website. So if you go on the website and you search library, you'll end up at the library where you can also choose the video clips to watch and more. So yeah, that's just setting the scene really. And as I said to you, I'm proudly presenting today the value of Dmso. Let me just get hold of it. Let me just see here. Yay! Okay, so just while that's pulling through, Dmso, dimethyl sulfoxide. Here is our bottle, and for those of you who can read clearly, we've got in red there the De-Clot shot, and this is really on time as usual. It's a product that's been around for a long time, but not really in anyone's toolkit, and anyone really knowing the value of it. We've used it a lot. We use it to potentiate any of our nature-made products. Potentiation means double the effect with less amount. So, for example, if you were using our Cell Vitality Oxy Mineral product, instead of using 6 drops per dosage, you would use 3. You can actually halve the dosage. So it's really awesome. It's really amazing. And yeah, we're able to potentiate, which means you maximize the effect and you use half the amount. So Dmso is a product that actually will drive nutrients into the cells naturally, and very useful topically too on the skin to also drive the almost gold on the skin, or any one of our other oils, and go also directly in the skin to where the pain point is. Let's just see if people are backing to connect. I don't know why people are battling to connect. Also don't. Let me just see how many people have connected here. No, there's a lot of you connecting. You're all here. Sorry, there's some people that were just battling to connect. So I don't know. All right, perfect. So then let's just carry on now. Let me just hope the slides are all there. Yeah. Okay. So the nice thing is we're back on track with all the recordings, and so this one will be recorded, played back and recorded within a couple of hours today. So let's just move to the slide so we can move methodically through this wonderful, wonderful space. I'm talking about dimethyl sulfoxide, and it's conversation space. So I would like you all to. Okay, perfect. I'd like you all to ask your questions, and even towards the end, if it's not totally related to Dmso and oxygenation of the body and thinning the blood and so on, it's fine. It's your time to ask questions. So I really do, offer this time and my availability for you to ask any questions that you want to ask me. I know a lot of my clients are on here. I know a lot of practitioners are on here and come in. So, yeah, just it's no problem. Let's get all the questions done. Okay, very exciting, the De-Clot shot. And this is a 50 ml a glass bottle, and must be in glass. Dmso is very, very powerful. It's actually flammable. And for that reason, it is in a glass bottle. And when we send overseas, we don't use the dropper. The dropper goes separately as well, just because of its flammability, just to tell you that. All right, so here we're having a lot of information on dimethyl sulfoxide. And Just want to make sure that this is recording. I think it is. All right. Okay, so let's have a look here. It's a powerful free radical scavenger. Right. So that is an interesting concept, because a free radical scavenger is working like the cell vitality oxyminerals. It's working like oxygen. So it'll go and scavenge the free radicals. We've talked many, many times about the difference between an antioxidant and an oxidant. So Dmso is working as an oxidant. All right. And it's a free radical scavenger. So that means it will aim for all the foreign matter in the body. We've got a sulfur molecule in there, and we've got an oxygen molecule in there, and we've got almost gold. So it's just like a wow product. And also inexpensive, totally affordable. It's safe. Anybody can use it on any medication for any condition. And obviously there's a dosage, a limit of dosage, which I'll go into in a moment, but it's safe. You can take it with any foods, and it's going to work very well. You don't have to worry too much about it. So the most important thing, all right, especially in degenerative diseases, cancers and things like that, we need an oxidant to go and break up that free radical electron, all right, and and burst it open so that the contents come out and they're all rendered inactive. That is what we need. We don't need food. We don't need antioxidants. We need an oxidant, a free radical scavenger. So oxygen it will cause rust in the air. That is free radical. That is corrosive. Sorry. So it's a highly corrosive substance. All right. And the sulfur is important for every detox pathway. Every human body needs sulfur, and that's also why MSM is quite a well-known product right now, because MSM is actually the salt of Dmso, right? And it's what the bacteria produce in their respiration process. And I'll speak about that just in a moment. So we got to have sulfur, and we've got to have oxygen. Okay, so let's have a look at the next slide. And I hope you're all finding this as exciting as me. And now what do we got here? Very effective anti-inflammatory. Very effective in pain relieving. Now those two things we pride ourselves in at 365 Healthy by Choice. By choosing the oral products that we have, also our very effective IV drips in the Chronic Disease Center, where we look at an oxygen O2 oxygen IV drip, okay, and that will go straight into the vein, and unbelievable anti-inflammatory pain relieving product. And whilst you're at the Chronic Disease Clinic, you will be consuming orally the Dmso. All right, so the potentiation of this is unbelievable. And, well, you know, the patients are there to speak to literally our results precede us. And everyone is a case study. The cancer pains go, the chronic inflammation pain, rheumatoid arthritis, those pains go instantly. We'll also even rub some onto if it's a degenerative lump, or if it's the knees. We actually had 2 ladies come in yesterday, one on crutches, the other one almost on crutches. And we actually dropped a little bit of the Dmso, rubbed it into them, and, you know, within 5 minutes, they already received and felt the pain relief. So we're talking about, you know, quick acting, fast acting, safe products here. We're not talking about, you know, a prescription come back in 3 months' time and we'll then deal with the kidney and the gut damage and the ulcers and everything else that's going on. Okay, we're talking about total natural product, nature made. It's also collagen softening, and and decalcifying as a result, because you find that a lot of the collagen can get really hard and stubborn. So very important for us to be able to remove, unwanted calcification and so on. And then, of course, anti-inflammatory. And here we're having a look at the DMSO's ability to easily pass through the skin, which I've talked about, and other biological membranes, and I'm including there the blood-brain barrier. So it instantly crosses the blood-brain barrier. Almost gold instantly crosses the blood-brain barrier. The DMSO will carry with it specific detoxification herbs, superfoods, and indeed our cell vitality oxyminerals too. So we're getting it very quickly to the brain. We find that clearing of brain fog, confusion, not thinking clearly, low life force is being restored very quickly too. And the sulfur-based compound, which I talked about, is also, everybody needs it to detoxify. And don't be too worried here about sulfur allergies and things. Most people are allergic to the synthetic sulfur, the man-made sulfur, the sulfur made in the lab, because I can tell you now that everybody's body needs sulfur. Everybody's body needs iodine. We can't live without it. In fact, sulfur is one of the top 3 alchemical elements. So, and it's critical for detoxification. So it's just awesome that we're finding that also in the. Yes, so Liesel's asking me, can you? Yes, you can, but Liesel, it's really, really, really strong. So 1 drop, no more than 1 drop, directly onto the skin. Oh, it will cover the entire knee and probably the back of the knee as well. Not onto broken skin. That's not advisable at all. It will sting. It will really, really, really sting. All right. And some people also will apply it on a little gauze where we soak 1 drop of DMSO with 1 drop of the cell vitality mixed. And then you will soak you'll first of all, if you're applying it onto the skin and you've got your saucer, you will do 1 drop of the cell vitality, wait the 20 seconds. You will add water to the saucer, and then you will add 1 drop of DMSO. You'll mix it all. You'll place your gauze or your plaster into that. You'll put it onto the skin no more than 10 minutes. Some people are leaving it on overnight, and not advisable because it's very strong, and you don't need it on for longer. So let it soak through, remove the little gauze or your plaster, and you're done. And on that point as well, soaking. So people with diabetic ulcers, lots of toxins you see accumulate in the calf area. They will accumulate here and in the calf mostly. So you can then soak that whole foot right up. You can soak up to the knees in a nice big bucket. You can put 20 drops of the cell vitality mixture after it's activated for 20 seconds into the bucket of water. You'll then chase that with 20 drops of DMSO. And then you can soak your leg, you can soak your arms, burses, all sorts of chronic arthritic rheumatoid pains in this solution also for about 10-15 minutes. You come out and you just let it dry. You dry it with a dry, clean towel, and you don't put anything on. You wait, minimum of half an hour. Let the cell vitality do its work. Let the DMSO do its work on its own. It doesn't need any lotion or cream or powder or anything added onto it. And if you do have an open wound, it's fine to soak it in the water. No problem at all. But don't put the DMSO straight onto an open wound, as I said. And then when you're just waiting for that, the leg or the decalcified bunion that's oozing or the diabetic ulcer to heal, don't let the fly sit on the body part. Flies carry maggots. They will lay their eggs in an instant, and it's terrible, especially in heat or humidity or so on. And then you can open up the plaster and you just literally see these maggots in the wound. All right, so you've got to make sure that the maggots don't get close. The flies can't get close at all. All right, so you could even just cover it lightly while it's drying. And then if it is an open wound, I would definitely keep a dry gauze and a plaster on until the wound is healed. So it's a byproduct of the wood pulping industry. So any paper mill, what they do is they will extract the DMSO directly out of the wood. So they press it and out comes the DMSO. Now remember also, I've talked many times about almost gold. So almost gold, how does the tree sap get from the root to the very top of a very tall tree? It's got to do with the life force. It's got to do with the ormus. So DMSO contains ormus as well, very high concentration of ormus. And when they cut the logs and so on, of course, the DMSO is trapped in the wood anyway. So it's tree sap. Okay, that's basically what it is, which is, I mean, though, that we can go into the logistics of it, but I'm giving you what it is right now, and it's saving a lot of lives. So it can also be found in fruits, in the superfoods, in the sea, and in the atmosphere. So the atmosphere, that's an interesting one, because we've also talked before that blue-green algae, spirulina, was the first condensed food to be extracted out of the atmosphere, very nitrogen-rich. And that was then grown in the lakes, freshwater lakes. They started respiring, and through the process of exhaling the oxygen and including MSM would go up to the clouds and come down with the precipitate. So that is how actually we get MSM, DMSO on the planet as an element, for us to use. So then it condenses it comes into the soil, and the trees will suck it up, and it's in the trees. So we also have it in us too. Right. So just today we need a lot more than before, because to ward off lots of negative aberrant forces, chemicals, toxins, and so on, and to help us restore our body to homeostasis. So good. And here we have also DMSO, just to confirm, and a naturally produced biogenic gas, essential for the Earth's biogeochemical cycle, should I say. Sulfur is an element of the Earth. It's essential to life. Sulfur is the 8th most prevalent element in the human body. Not sulfur itself, but often in combination. And this is where we also have to get a little bit scientific, and me as the pharmacist, will get involved there as well, because some forms of sulfur are totally toxic. Sodium lauryl sulfate, often found in, for example, shampoos, body products, will damage the liver beyond anything you can think of. And we find sodium lauryl sulfate so often on the quantum devices, and we see huge liver damage. So again, the sulfides, the sulfates in non-organic wine, also very dangerous. So the right combination of sulfur is very, very important. So you can go and have a look at your body products and read it on the back, and anything sulf, anything, SULF, SULPH, be aware that you've got toxicity in there, right? Some of them are below the threshold of the manufacturers having to label. So, again, get back to natural products, because then you are not worrying about damaging your body. So it's normally in a complex molecule, for example, sulfur in a sulfate molecule, in a SO4 form. But less often do you find it in the simple molecule form, such as the DMSO, and that sulfur is freely available. And getting back to my point about intolerances to sulfur, this is a natural sulfur that we're breathing anyway. So just by the way, all right, we're breathing sulfur, we're breathing iodine. So When you are really sensitive to these things, and something like even a chlorella, when you're really sensitive, what it's really meaning is that you are detoxifying so quickly. So just bring the dose down. But with Dmso, the side effects are virtually none. I can just give you that categorically. All right, but you know, if you're looking at a sulfur that's in, for example, an antibiotic, sulfur group of antibiotics, it's dangerous and it's toxic and you feel terrible, right? And that's where people will wear the bracelets, you know, sulfur allergy. Not so with our products, but if you really are worried and you're worried about somebody, put a little bit on the inside of your palm and wait for 24 hours and see. Put one drop, you know, or you can even put one drop over the whole inner arm and wait and see. All right. All right, next, benefits of Dmso. Used a lot with racehorses in particular because of its oxygen releasing properties. Dmso, the oxygen, and lots by vets today. And for humans, most commonly used for joint and arthritic pain, but I'm going to show you 16 really good useful uses for it. And in particular, and more on point today, is about its declotting effect and the thinning of the blood. And I'm just going to read on there the potentiation of other products, in particular our cell vitality oxyminerals, to detox the cells and revitalize the cells. So if we're talking about evidence-based medicine, apart from the list I'm going to give you in a moment, we've seen the declotting in front of us live under the microscope. You know, we've literally done a blood sample before we start our oxygen IV drips and the oral Dmso, and then we do post, and we basically see the red blood cells coming apart in front of us. Similarly with Dmso on its own and afterwards oral. So that's why we've introduced this as a De-Clot shot, because people walking around in the cities today, I can give it to you, probably 95% are walking around with some sort of clotted blood, much thicker than ever before, due to the radiation and all the toxins and everything that goes with it and everything you've read. And we need to ward this off and be careful. I live in a town where we have a huge white cell phone mast at every intersection. I live in a cul-de-sac, and we have a big white mask at the beginning of our entrance to our end of our road. So some of the intersections have 4 of them, 4 towers. It's causing the blood to clot. It's causing, how is this happening? Because the body loses its electromagnetic charge. It's not negatively charged anymore. It becomes too positively charged. And the red blood cells start sticking together. And you've all seen my pictures of red blood cells sticking together. Okay, so we've got to recharge the body. If you stand on the earth, you will recharge your body. You will get it into the negative form, which will repel. Then the red blood cells will repel each other. They will have enough charge to do that, because electrons should never touch. So when the red blood cells are one on top of each other, they've lost the charge. That means your cell vitality is down the chute. It's also lost its charge. Your entire body is positively charged. Acidic, inflammation, pain, open to parasite invasion, and very difficult to remove the heavy metals, which is what we don't want. Low life force, low energy. We want the reverse to happen. So we've got to now start warding off this overload of toxicity and help the liver, help the kidneys, help the skin, the gut, the lungs, the lymph to do this. And here we have a quick and easy drops that can just literally be put into water. Okay. You can put it into your water bottle. 10 drops for your morning water, another 10 drops for your afternoon water. Done. All right. Your red blood cells will be apart. Your water molecules will be structured properly in your body, throwing out the infections, throwing out the toxicity. The cell vitality will be maximized, and so will your battery. And I'm suggesting that you use our toolkit, our reset a group of products to do this, because every one of them is interlinked to the other. All right. Okay, so here we have 16 major therapeutic properties of DMSO. And this is by Dmso Nature's Healer, Dr. Morgan Walker. So it blocks pain by interrupting the conduction in the small carbon fibers, the non-myelated nerve fibers. So critical, especially today where, wow, people's nerves are shot. And there's, big damage to the myelin sheath. I can think of numerous clients right now sitting in the situation, lots of neurological damage, lots of anxiety going with this, toxic nerves. And that word conduction is critical, because everything we're doing right now is talking about electromagnetic conduction, the movement of electrons, the removal of damaged free radical electrons, and the pairing up where necessary via antioxidants. We need the antioxidants, but when we've got big damage, we've got to bring the oxidation in quickly. We can bring the antioxidants in also, but we can't forget about this. They will only go probably 30% of the way. It's anti-inflammatory. We've spoken about that. Very critical today. Most people have got a very high prostaglandin level, very high cortisol levels, and that whole inflammatory pathways, activated. Well, inflammatory pathways activated. So it's critical that we remove inflammation and obviously the pain. And interestingly also, it's bacteriostatic, fungistatic, and virostatic. And I'm putting that really in inverted commas because we all know what that really means. So, genetically modified organisms. Critical, of course, because of the nature of the oxygen and the sulfur. So it's going to transport numerous, not only the healthy stuff, by the way, it actually helps the pharmaceutical products too, just as it happens. It reduces the incidence of platelet thrombi in blood vessels. Thank you. That's what we need. When we look at the blood under the microscope, we see fibrin particles and we see platelet aggregation and sticky red blood cells. We see tiny white blood cells that are not moving. And that's just the typical picture. Lots and lots of parasitized blood, toxins in the blood. And these days, some unknown particles in the blood too. So that number 5 is very, very important insofar as the point I'm making today. It has a specific effect on cardiac contractility by inhibiting calcium to reduce the workload of the heart. Also, unbelievably important. The number 1 risk factor that we measure with all our devices and with our devices in particular, the quantum devices, is cardiovascular risk. It's the number 1 risk. So we need to do whatever we can do to reduce the workload on the heart. We do thin the blood, which is critical. We also clean the vessels. We'll use the chunka piedra there or our decalcification salts. And then we're coming in with the DMSO too. So it's working actually on the heart muscle. It's bringing in oxygen and it's detoxifying. Therefore, it's able to operate better. Okay, it's not coming in as a symptom remover. It's coming in as a solution. All right, transforming solution. And so many people are having heart palpitations these days, especially after injections and things like that, and lots of thick blood. Here we go, the prostaglandin synthesis. That's for inflammation, and cyclical fatty acids. That's what flaxseed oil will do. It's anti-inflammatory, right? So it will stimulate that effect. It will potentiate the flaxseed oil, and therefore have an effect on every cell and every tissue and every organ. So therefore, we're also going to sedate. And we are also going to balance that central nervous system. All right. And it's absolutely critical. That's the working on the ECG and on the EEG. Okay, the brainwave patterns, because it crosses that blood-brain barrier, starts detoxifying, same as ormus. It will start detoxifying, same as the cell vitality minerals, starts detoxifying. The flaxseed oil starts detoxifying. The microbiome reset probiotic with the live enzyme starts detoxifying. So you see the detoxifying aspect of everything and of achieving life force and maximized health is to remain, clear of toxins and to help the body these days. Beautiful. And, any antifungal, antibacterial, superfood herb its effect will be potentiated too. So I hope you're loving this. The compounds that negatively charge the body. So compounds that do that would be anything synthetic. Okay. Anything synthetic. Let me just get to you. Any medicine, any drug, Coke, Fanta, Sprite, the fizzy drinks, lots of sugar, environmental toxins, chemical toxins, negative thoughts, lack of sleep, never going outside in the sun, never touching the ground. They're going to keep us in a positive state. Radiation keeps us in a positive state. I mean, I'm sitting here and just for the just for the record, I'm permanently touching my earthing mat. All right, it's plugged in. And, I don't know how well you can see this thing, but anyway, you can see on the website, I've got an earthing mat near me all the time, 24/7. What an earthing mat is doing is creating the Sherman's resonance, right, which is the earth energy. So you plug it into the wall, it's earthed, you can check it on a voltmeter. The voltmeter goes to north the minute you touch it, which means you're on earth energy. So it's as though I'm touching the earth almost 24/7, because I have a small one in my car, which is attached to a wrist strap, and I have one in my bed as well, and one where I'm working. So I'm setting up a negative shield around me to ward off the positivity, to just grab all those electrons. When you stand on the ground, you can't overstand on the ground. Do you know what I mean? Your body will absorb the negative electrons as much as it needs to. So let's say you're standing on the ground, you reach, it'll take half an hour, right? And if the ground is wet or you're walking on the wet beach, it'll be quicker. And then you pick up the phone. So immediately your body will go into a positive state, and the ground you will start absorbing more electrons to try to achieve a steady state. It depends on the power of the cell phone, right? The smartphone. If it's too powerful, the earth can only do so much. It can't actually meet the cell phone because the frequency isn't. A cell phone, and you can go and have a look at our radiation videos on the YouTube. It's very intense. So it will help standing on the ground or speaking on your phone, for example, but it's not going to negate it. But it will help tremendously, especially, when you're sleeping. So I hope that's given you, what makes negative. What was the question? Compound. What are the compounds? Yeah, or sulfur in the wrong format. The wrong form of sulfur is going to cause us to be. The compounds to negatively charge the body. Okay, never mind about that. So I've given you right now the things that will positively charge the body and have a negative effect, if I can make it scientifically clear. So they're going to create positivity. We don't want to be positive. We want to be neutral, actually. The earth neutralizes us. The negative part of the earth electrons will neutralize us. Okay. So the question here, actually, to be more specific, is to what is going to negatively charge the body? Okay, so what's going to negatively charge the body? And that means we're going to achieve maximum health and life force. So let's just take medicinal mushrooms, blue-green algae, Dmso, ormus gold, which is the most powerful of all, flaxseed oil, microbiome reset, all organic food, organic sprouts, seeds, nuts, fruits. You see, they will have the water and the electron structured automatically and naturally. And that's the most important thing. Okay, so we're on to some really, really, really good and interesting things here. And, you know, need to know this. Need to share it, put it that way. All right, let's have a look at the next 8, also by Dr. Morgan. Now, this is so important too, because it's acting as a vasodilator. Now, what is the effect? A vasodilator means it's going to dilate the vessel. So those people with constricted vessels, I think I have to close this. I have to come back to you here on this one. Okay, after the injection, the blood gets really thick, and I know it because I've seen it every single time. It gets full of parasites, full of fibrin, and the vessel walls get inflamed. They get damaged, and we're seeing it again and again and again on our quantum devices and physically. So the mere fact that it's causing a degree of natural vasodilation is that the blood will flow smoother. And of course, because of its agglutination effect on reducing the clots, the blood is going to flow even more smoothly. Now, you must know that's going to have an effect on the blood pressure. Anybody with a very high blood pressure is going to bring it down. So it's our number one go-to when there's high blood pressure. And there's a specific dosage for that, and you can speak to me about it. And we manage the patient, and we manage that very high blood pressure. I'm talking about 201 over 121. Those people come to us, all right? And we balance that. I'm also talking about 65 over 55 blood pressure, the low blood pressure. So it's just intelligent enough to work in the body to normalize the blood pressure. And blood pressure is critical because it's actually a vital statistic in terms of our conductivity, in terms of our electromagnetic field. So low blood pressure and high blood pressure are equally a problem. It's equally indicating your electromagnetic field is out, your bioresonance is out, your scalar wave is out. Okay, so it's absolutely critical, this aspect. Right. Related to histamine release in the cells and to prostaglandin inhibition, reducing inflammation. Oh my word. This is what I'm speaking about in regard to generally people who are unwell, but in particular post-injection. All right. We can safely start repairing and reducing inflammation and restoring homeostasis in the body. So important, inhibiting the release of cholinesterase enzymes, softens the collagen. We did talk about that. It's got a special cross-linking effect. Very, very important. No one wants hardened, unusable molecules in the body. And here again, you know, people are, you know, gaily swallowing collagen powder. I mean, seriously, I would say 60% or more of people are not able to digest protein right now, the normal protein that they're eating. And it's concentrating in the kidneys, and it's causing stones eventually, and improper filtration and damage to the kidneys. So why would one do that? Why would you blindly swallow collagen that's, you know, in a protein form that's undigestible? You would rather use the, I've made a vegan one, a vegan plant-based collagen builder. So you can go check that out on the website. We also have the decalcification salts, and in those salts we have MSM, ascorbic acid, and those salts together with lemon, vitamin C is also in there, will form collagen for you naturally. MSM, right, the salt of Dmso, okay? So that will form natural collagen, soft, natural, usable, pliable collagen for you. We've got the effect now of the Dmso, which will go in and soften it and let the body use it properly. You can take DMSO with anything. I just don't put it in the same glass as the Cell Vitality oxyminerals because it's flammable. So don't light your cigarettes, if you've got an open bowl of DMSO in front of you, for example, it's flammable. So yes, you can mix it with what you like. And also Liesel, it's going to drive those electrodes further into the cells. That's why the racehorses use it. Sorry, but I mean, the facts are there. I mean, they're using it to drive probably not healthy, nature-made things into this racehorse's cell, the synthetic things, of course. But that's the nature of the industry. But they're wised up. They know what it does. Okay, so we're really able to have marvelous effects with this product. Many of you are sitting with bottles, not knowing, have not used them, not knowing exactly what to do with them. Scavenges the free radicals, and we've talked about that. That's those free electrons, stimulates immunity. Anything that's going to detoxify the body is going to stimulate immunity because the body's got less work to do. The immune system's got less work to do. Potent diuretic when administered intravenously. Brings about interferon formation in the organism and stimulates the healing of wounds. You can see 13, 14. I don't know where the others went. Never mind about that. Okay, so these are huge, huge, huge therapeutic properties and benefits of a product that's really understated. And we also have a large, I don't know if you can see it from here, a 500 ml DMSO bottle. For those of you who will know what you're doing, you know what I mean? Literally, because there is a dose specific. I mean, I would say, some of our degenerative patients, they would take 4 to 5 drops 10 times a day. So that's giving you an idea of a daily dose. And with our blood pressure patients, we will moderate the dose according to each individual case. But very lovely to use. It's a completely safe product that's so effective and also inexpensive. So just have a look here. I'm going to show you the product. We use it mostly in our oxidative space where we're cleaning away those free radicals. The two together, the cell oxyminerals and the DMSO, our De-Clot shot, work particularly well together. And I think I've given you all a lot of information on the superfoods and, electrolytes. And if you're on a detox program, it's just going to literally potentiate, first of all, so less is more, and it does the job and get the nutrients into the cell, all right, naturally. When you're using with the Cell Vitality oxyminerals, of course, they are taking care of anything negatively charged as well, because it just becomes a free radical. So, and then price-wise, okay, just let's have a look at this question first. Yes. In answer to your question, Sanjay, yes, because the stent, remember, it needs to can't get blocked. If the stent gets blocked, you end up back in hospital. So, I mean, this is just a perfect case in point as well, because, and it's a catch-22. So many people will go for an operation and they will cut pieces of the vein, they'll join it because it's blocked, right? Arterial stenosis, it's got really thin and it's blocked. So they'll cut the block out, they'll join the vein again, they'll put a stent in where they can, but what happens? They don't remove the cause, right? So nobody's removing the cause. And so the next thing, you get a whole more series of blocked places in the arteries, and the stent gets blocked. Post-injection, be very careful. Those stents will get blocked. So useful question too, because we're keeping everything fluid and clean and, dynamic in the blood. Okay. But I wouldn't just go ahead and do it. You need to speak to me first so that we can, organize dosages and monitor. We've got to monitor people very carefully here. And price-wise, just to show you, what we're talking about here, this little kit. The De-Clot shot, the 50 ml is 250 Rand or $16. Excuse the hand sign. And the Cell Vitality Oxy Minerals is 550 Rand or equivalent to $37 US. So, that's a little pack, close on sort of 800 Rand, close on sort of $50. And it's going to last you, the Cell Vitality definitely 2 months. The De-Clot shot, depending on how many drops you need to take to get a result, will either last you 1 month or 2 months as well. So I think that's a great bargain. And I would throw into that also the Almost Gold into the reset, definitely. I would use the flaxseed oil cold pressed, definitely. I would use the microbiome reset, definitely, because we want the immunity to be activated in the gut. I would use the replica RNA DNA, definitely. And if people are sick, then I would add the immune defense, which is the herbal product to. You see, when someone is sick, of course, their charge is low. So there's also, we've got to bring up the Cell Vitality Oxy Minerals. We've got to bring in the Dmso. So I like to bring the herbal product in there as well, because we're getting dual action quickly. And then as we increase the Cell Vitality Oxy Minerals, see? So we bring that in. We also bring iodine in to help as well. And as the person regains charge, which we're measuring on the quantum device, we're seeing what's going on with the adrenals and the charge of the body and the oxygen utilization. We can then monitor the dosage of those kind of things. That's very important. And then when you've stabilized yourself, or you've done your detox and so on, and the cells are ready to take in all the nutrients, then I would bring in the Stress Defense Shield, the Brain Fuel, the Extreme Performance Boost in the capsule, or the Smoothie Boost powder, our Activa stem cells with 5 top adult stem cell producing plant-based. I would bring in our Life Force Daily Essential Smoothies, the Berry C, the Green Alkalinizer, the Anti-Stress Vibrance, and eat accordingly. I would add the blueberries to that, and the whatever fruits you want to add to that. Those things I would add, the organic nuts if you can get. I would definitely add flaxseed oil to the smoothie. Tiny bit of honey if you want. And that, to me, that kind of eating is fun to me, because it's my fast food. It's my go-to. And it keeps my brain active. I'm able to concentrate. I don't get up every 5 minutes, attention deficit or whatever. The concentration is there. The focus is there. The clarity of thought. And I'm far more productive. So I think that's what this is all about, really, at the end of the day. And, I speak cross-dimensionally. I speak physical, neurological, emotion, and spiritual as well, because it is that. You can't really work in a reductionist way or live in a reductionist way. Everything is interrelated and integrated. And, anybody can understand that. We get a cross-section of people coming to us, and they understand that. They understand. Oh, so you're saying one thing affects something else in the body. Yes, we're saying that, So, yeah, I'm just delighted with all the results we're getting orally, intravenously, with the quantum medicine software that we're using as well. You see, to try first, guys, we have to try first, because most people get bullied into the op. Oh, we found this and it's this size, and if you don't bring it down, it's going to burst. And What's so bad about a degenerative growth bursting? Thank goodness, I would want that, because all the stuff's going to spew out. You don't have to then remove it internally. Seriously, I actually observed an animal where the tumor burst. The animal was fine. All the junk came out. The wound healed on its own. You will get bullied into spinal operations. You'll get bullied into the knee, the cartilage is finished. There's nothing to rebuild the cartilage. That's not true. We have a recipe to do that. We actually make something for you, and you use it to rebuild the cartilage. We rebuild the connective tissue. Bee pollen, for example, specifically. You're using the Dmso, its effect on the body's ability to use collagen that solidifies. So it releases the collagen as well. And we want to detox first. And then I always say we've clean slated the situation. Whether it's emotional or physical or neurological or even spiritual, let's get rid of the unwanteds in the body, the wrongly charged molecules, okay? And emotions and so on. And then we can actually see. And we've got lots and lots of case studies. I mean, I get people here that can hardly walk. And, within a day or two or three, they're in another space. I get elderly people, my father included at the time. And they go onto our products and they show off when they come here. They show me how they can get up and down the stairs. So, as I said, evidence-based medicine, the research is there. We validate and verify it, and we see it in the patients as well. Ovarian cancer, we will bring in the Almost Gold, we'll bring in the Royal Jelly, we'll bring in all those products that literally gun for degenerative tissue as well. And we will use the flaxseed oil, we will use the microbiome reset, we will use our reset kit. And you'll be amazed. I mean, people have eliminated their colon tumor in bits. It never happens. And over a weekend, this lady, this is a case study, time for case studies, I suppose. She was at a bank, and they did the routine executive medicals over the last 5 years. Nobody said anything to her. They never bothered to speak about a low oxygen level to her and high inflammation and so on. And she was then diagnosed with a colon tumor. And she actually took more than a year off work. She went to see every possible conceivable health person and even consulted people overseas, and was then referred to us. And we used the quantum medical device. We used Almost Gold, our cell vitality oxyminerals, the Dmso, the flaxseed oil, etc., etc., etc. And within a month, she eliminated this tumor. The other lady vomited up her stomach tumor. She kept calling me telling me she's vomiting up. She's vomiting up pieces. And I kept telling her, but my products don't cause vomiting. She kept calling me, and she's an elderly lady. And I kept thinking, maybe I'm not hearing her properly, or she's not communicating to me properly. But Jane, I vomited up again, bits. And I wasn't getting her. And then she came. And I put on the skier and I looked at the stomach and I said, but what's been going on here? She said, I told you, I've been vomiting up bits. I said, oh my gosh, never understood what you were saying to me. So, I mean, I'm only as good as the people. We're only as good as the clients that come and their attitude to health. But here's two beautiful examples. There's another one, by the way, breast cancer. And I actually need to get the right wording that she used. She came to one of our functions here, and she's one of the first people in South Africa to actually be declared free, not even in remission, free of breast cancer. And she was one who, I can say this, was caught in the trap. I don't know how many millions she spent on operations, including having her lymph nodes removed, which means she's got to come every 2 weeks to my infrared sauna to help her detox the lymph. And live like that, basically, because now these nodes are out, the lymph glands are out under the armpit. And then she always hovered. She knew somewhere her subconscious was telling her, go natural. And she then did kick it up, because what happens is they get into a trap with a medical aid. And the medical aid pay, right? So they go for it, but it's a big fat trap. And they don't give it up until the medical aid is over. And if they do give it up, the medical won't pay for the next time, so they're scared. So they end up doing their course. And in this case, it was 6 years. All right. And still without results, still with growth. All right. And it's very disheartening because lots of money's been spent, lots of times have been spent, lots of damage with chemo, sometimes radiation as well. And, well, she's living proof. She then crossed over. She said, Jane, I'm here. I'm going to do whatever you say. And we've got her, she's not even in remission. I have to get the right wording from her, but she was telling everybody at my function about this. So absolute miracle, medical miracle. And, you know, as I said again, I'm only as good as you. I'm only as good as the people that come. So you set your limit. If you decide, listen, 10 out of 10, I'm removing this. It's going to leave me. Whether it's sinus, whether it's knee pain, whether it's whatever, okay? Then that's your limit. It's your ceiling. Don't come asking me what's my success rate. All right, we've got loads of case studies, but those are people who pin their success at 10 out of 10. Okay, and maybe some of them came with 5 out of 10 and moved to 10 out of 10 because they were able to, because as we charge the body and maximize their health, they suddenly saw the light and they went the next step. So sometimes we've got to give the people the wherewithal to actually take the next step too. But as I said, it's all about your progress and, you know, what you've pinned your own success at, you know. So nice stuff. Stroke and polio problem. So stroke's no problem at all. There's been obviously oxygen deprivation a lot of the time, and we come in there and we clean what we can and we start restoring functionality. And it also depends, you know, on the cause of that stroke, which 9 times out of 10 is thick blood and arteriosclerosis from the vein to the brain. So common and worsened by today's everything that's going on today. Very, very big problem. So also children that are autistic, children that are battling due to childhood vaccinations, not able to study at school properly, learn properly, develop properly. We've got case studies on that as well. I'm very proud about that too. Again, the mother pinned the success at 10 out of 10. And that's the end of it. And the child on a subconscious level worked with us. And you got there. I've got autistic children that will go to huge, enormous stadiums today, whereas before they were so, you know, averse to crowds that they would never go anywhere. Just to say. Polio. So polio is obviously a vaccination. Okay, and it's all, well, we've got conclusive evidence that measles is not a vaccination, right? Okay, so, and I'm not going into that because I'll just take it down. But of course, we get it out. And so many people are walking around with polio in the febrile state, active state, because they will give you a weakened form. It doesn't ever go away. It gets into your DNA. It's there. Fact. Fact. So we will take it out with the quantum software and the Dmso, the cell vitality, the Ormus, wool jelly, store the conductivity with flaxseed oil. You know, the more I repeat this, the more I think you're getting it. So we don't have to be a genius. We don't have to hide behind research that was done and paid for at a university where they had 1,000 people, whatever, all engineered and paid for. I'm sorry, I'm not into that space at all. I want results and I want them quickly. And I want you to come to me to tell me you're well. And I will measure it on my device and I'm happy. That's the new paradigm. And that's the end of it. And it's about nutrition. It's about eating according to your type, very definitely. Non-synthetic foods and doing all the high vibrational, high life force things. And, you know, having the fun and stuff. So I have a friend driving to Johannesburg to get some stents after just getting a pacemaker put in. So you see that's a case, Sanjay, where we could use we'll obviously first do a baseline assessment and see what we're doing, but it's definitely going to help. You know, a drop or two in his water, the Dmso would be amazing to assist, and then really get to the root causes. Because if people are not getting to the root cause of disease, I'm sorry, but you are again in a symptomatic realm. Sort the symptoms out, not the cause. That's not going to bring life force in. So at the end of the day, what caused the stent and the pacemaker? I can tell you that blood is as thick as hell, and the vessels are as coated as hell with cholesterol plaque, and the oxygen is as low as anything, inflammation as high as anything, parasites rife, toxicity high, conductivity of the body poor, electromagnetic field poor, adrenal fatigue flattened. Got to fix that. Okay, you know, again, at the end of the day, do what you love. And a painter must paint, a musician must play music, a healer must heal, an environmentalist must do what they need to do, an educator must educate, and you know what you need to do. You do. Find your passion and you'll know what to do. And that's going to bring the whole story together for you. You can line this desk in front of me with 14 bottles of zinc, 15 seleniums, green juices, multivitamins, etc., etc., etc. But if you haven't got the charge of the body right, and you're full of toxicity, you know, it's going to go nowhere. You're just going to keep pouring it down. It's not even going to get absorbed. I mean, we get people coming here for the immune booster, energy booster, glutathione, vitamin C, mineral vitamin drips, because they're not absorbing. They're just flat out not absorbing anymore. The colons and the intestines are closed down. The stomach's not doing anything. There's reflux happening. There's no absorption. There's no movement. So why throw all that expensive stuff down your throat? Let's get the gut healed. Get it all cleaned. Get the intestine completely squeaky clean and working properly. Let's get the emotion out the way, and relax. Let the parasympathetic nervous come in to heal. So maybe I should just end on this. There's the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Right. Most people are spending too much time in the sympathetic nervous system realm, which we need, because we need to cope with fear if it's an alert, but we need to retract back into the non-fear space. But most people are in fear and they stay there 24/7, running from the lion 24/7, adrenaline, cortisol hitting on every cell all the time, reducing our immunity, and having a big toll on the adrenals, creating adrenal fatigue. Low charge of the body, right? We can't function like that. Where does the healing occur? Where does the circulation occur? Where does the digestion occur? Where does the elimination occur? In the parasympathetic nervous system realm, when we're resting, when we're relaxing. Low stress levels, good levels of corticosteroids and acetylcholine and those kind of things that allow the body to heal. When we put people with the auricular acupuncture needles, when we put them in for 45 minutes, by the way, I love this. I get bathed in serotonin, dopamine, and all the endorphins for 45 minutes. You sleep, you come out of there like you've slept for a week, literally, because of the position of the needles. And we also rearrange the neurological pathway. The old negativity, the old patterns, the patterns that need to be given up. Remember, healing is non-verbal, all right? And it's non-linear. It needs to happen in the morphogenic field. Thanks to acupuncture, beautiful. Thanks to these beautiful products I've been speaking about. Thanks to the quantum software. Thanks to educators, people you go and speak to, who speak on this level, who are not in boxes, who are not trying to put you in a box, that understand there's a universe at play, there's a morphogenic field at play here, and that there's a dynamic situation happening. you know, and can relate to you on those levels. You know, I see Dipti joined us as well. And, you know, Dipti is one of these people to, you know, she's wonderfully empowered to share, you know, from the morphogenic field. So sometimes we just need a trigger to help us as well. So, you know, those people are also rare, and nice to have you join us, Nalitha, all the way from Transkei, old Transkei. Okay, so Dipti, you're asking me, can I please repeat the number of drops? Okay, in the liter of water. I would suggest for an adult, 10 drops in water in the morning, 10 in the evening. Doesn't matter how big, or in the afternoon, sorry. Twice a day, 10 drops, regardless of anything else you're doing. It doesn't matter how, if it's a liter or half a liter, whatever, but get the 10 drops in. You might notice a bit of a off-gassing. But that's fine. It's pure, you know. Your body knows how much sulfur to use and so on. So don't worry about that. It's a good smell, clean and hygienic. So I hope that's helped you. No, you can easily. I wouldn't keep the Dmso for longer than a day. You know what I mean? I would put the mixture in for the day. It will gas off once the minute you add it to the cell vitality oxy minerals. It's going to gas off. So you need to drink that very quickly. When you've made your cell vitality oxy mineral 1,1 and you've activated it and you've added your water, the minute you add that Dmso, you drink it, because they both will inactivate each other. So we can use the Dmso in the eyes, and it's a very special concentration and dosage regime and all of that, and you can speak to me about that. I don't really want to advocate that, you know, we need to be very professional and medical about that, most definitely, and we need to ask a lot of questions too. So what are the floaters? Let's talk about that. What's a floater? So when you look from side to side, you get little black things floating. That, everybody, is a spirochete. It is a parasite living in your eyes. 9 times out of 10, rocky mounted spotted fever. It's a rickettsia spirochete, like a Lyme's organism. All right, so that has to go. So we can work internally, and we can also clean the eye. You can put almost gold, diluted almost gold, straight in the eye to refresh the eyes and to also restore the little fibers and so on. I put spring water directly in my eyes in the morning when I wake up to clean them into the cap, and I put spring water into my eyes as well. And well, there's lots of things I do too, but I think that would really be for practitioners to work with on that level. But good question. You know what? Water, the cell vitality oxy minerals are actually water purifying drops. So if you look on the label, it says how to purify your water. So, you know, you could put 2 to 4 drops of the cell vitality oxy minerals activated into, you know, 2 to 4 liters of water, for example. And if you're out and you're stuck and you don't trust your water board for cleansing the water properly, you don't trust that the filters are being changed, and you don't have any water filter at home, it's fine, it's perfect. You just purify your water with the drops. So that's the first answer to you. And then you can use your water wherever you want to use it. Okay. So you can do that. You will definitely not use an alkaline water. So you need to use a water that's pH around about 7. Look, tap water is close to 8. It's fine. Tap water is fine. I wouldn't use acidic water at all. So you want to have the pH around about 7 to 8 with your water. And then, as I said to you, if you're worried about the purification, purify it first, and then use it. That's important. No, I don't take anything with almost gold. It's in an energy of its own, and it doesn't need to be potentiated at all. So almost gold is everything we've talked about and more. So that's the first thing that I do in the morning is the almost gold. And remember, it's a very revered energy. The frequency is so high. I told you about that before. And the story and history of almost gold is the ancient wise sages across the world would consume almost gold. And they would then, in those times, go to the top of the mountain, get the universal wisdom and come and share it with the tribe. So the salt mines were very revered from that point of view by the wise sages of the world. And the reason being that it crosses the blood-brain barrier instantly, like the Dmso. And then you're thinking clearly straight away because it's cleaned up, it's mopped up all the free radicals. Beautiful. So just getting back to your question, yes, let's keep the almost gold to work on its own. And then you're topping up with Dmso, you're topping up with your medicinal mushrooms, your blue-green algae, your pollens, your raw jellies, you're topping up with cell vitality, oxy minerals. So you're just constantly on an elevated, maximized health vibrational space. Put it that way. And you sleep so beautifully, and you just also don't get so hung up on things. Much easier, much better. And you will be tried. Of course you'll be tried, because we want to release all that those negative patterns. So things are going to face you, and they're going to, and they must, because bring it on, I just think the most intensely chaotic places in the world right now are the places where you'll do the best shifting. I mean, who wants to be in a place where, there aren't really places anymore where the boat hasn't got rocked. But use the chaos, because that's how you're going to repattern. So we haven't even talked about the time crystal, and I do want to, all right, because it fits into everything we've talked about and I nearly forgot. But this will give you the enhanced sustained scalar wave that all these products are doing, that gives you that 24/7 position, 365 days a year in the morphogenic universal field. If you want to read about the field, it's Lynn McTaggart, it's Bohm's. It was a little bit too advanced for Einstein, to be honest. He knew that it existed, but he never really could capture it. So this device, and I've talked about it often on a Wednesday. If I'm not quick enough, and I take your blood slide and I put it under the microscope, and I'm not quick enough to show you the exact picture of your blood as it is, it will start declotting. The cells start opening up in front of me. So it's amazing that anyone, anything that's alive anywhere near the scalar wave will start rejuvenating, detoxifying and rejuvenating. So that's it. Unless we've got any more questions, very, very exciting. How much into the purifying of the water? So depending on the water, right? I would use anything from 2 drops to 4 drops into 4 liters of water. So you could say 1 drop per liter. And that's not going to cause detoxification, you see? That is just a normal everyday water. If it's very, very dirty and you're very, very worried, then you could do 2 drops. There's no danger. You'll just detox. If you do 3 drops, you'll just detox. If you clean, you won't detox. The device, so Nolitha, I'm not sure which device you're talking about, but we've got various devices on the website. The one quantum device we sell as a package, business in a box package. That's 11,500 Rand plus VAT if you're in South Africa. It's about $820. And that comes with the package and the training, and you're good to go, and you know what products to use when. And so that's available there. The larger quantum devices with the software and so on, that one is going for 21,500 euros. And there is a smaller one with very little software on it at 7,500 euros. You can also get second-hand ones. So let me know if you also want a second-hand one, which you can get for probably 100,000 Rand. Divide by 15 to get US dollars, what I've quoted now. So, that's where we're sitting there. But that quantum device, it's a total game changer, because you will never be without medication or nutrients or anything, because they're all in the matrix. And when you deliver aspirin electromagnetically, there's no side effects. Just to say, we don't need to, but if you deliver an anti-cancer product that's in the matrix in electromagnetic form, there's no side effects. Just to tell you. So, but obviously we would be using it. Let's say bee pollen became very scarce, and it is. So then there's an electromagnetic frequency that's in the matrix, so you can give people yourself bee pollen, for example. But we really are on the age now where we need to validate and verify what we do. Don't just believe pine needles are going to remove a spike protein. I'm sorry, show me validated and verified results. Don't just believe what's the next best distraction, distortion, deviation. Okay, go and do your research. That's all I'm saying. Okay, because we want the truth. I'm sick of fake. I'm totally sick of fake. Fake anything is going to make anyone sick. A non-truth is going to make you sick. It's got the wrong cell vibration, the wrong magnetic spin. So until humanity stands up, lives in truth, is authentic, original, organic, there's going to be disease. I can tell you that. That's for sure. And there's going to be things in your pathway to shift you to get to that point. Yes, you do dilute the almost gold, Liesel. It's not poisonous. It's not going to damage your... I mean, for example, Dmso needs to be properly titrated. Almost gold will not do any damage to your eyes. It's alchemy. Okay, so that product is alchemical. All right, it's not in physical form. You can see it, but it's not in physical form. Same as the electromagnetic frequencies from the quantum software. They're not in physical form, so there aren't any side effects. Same as our intravenous oxygen maximizer drip. When we put that oxygen water in your vein, there are no side effects. Nothing. Nothing. And the pain goes. It's magnificent. I'm still actually personally unraveling it. I'm still trying to get the clues of how that's working. But right from up until now and so on, I'm seeing the results. That's what counts. I'm seeing the results validated on my device and under my microscope. I'm happy with that. And the people they come, they sleep, they wake up, they look magnificent. They just look magnificent. They look like they've been to fetch a whole big sack of life force. And they're just vibrant. And the worse you are, the better you are at the end of the 3-4 hours. For the almost gold, you could do a 25%, almost 75% water. No problem. All right, so that's, I think, my lot for this evening. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And we'll see you next week. And thanks to all of you, because you spur me on to what to talk about, what needs to be talked about. I just see somebody here. Sorry, I think I've missed this. Alphonse, I'm not sure what you're asking me here. Oh, writing the DMSO. Okay, so what I'll do is I will post on our group. Oh, you can, first of all, you can go and have a look on the website. If you go and search DMSO at the top, it will take you to the DMSO product and it will take you to the information sheet. So I would go straight to the website right now. And I would type in DMSO at the top, Alphonse, and you can read it all there. I think that would be the best and clearest thing. Absolute pleasure, Sally. Lovely having you join us. I mean, we've got people from right around the world here. It's such a pleasure, so amazing. And, you know, I mean, we've just got to take radiation and technology, you know, for what it is. We need radiation. I mean, we are receiving cosmic radiation, which is healthy, on a daily basis. You know, we're receiving. Well, let's talk about lead. We need lead in our body, but not too much. We need mercury, but not too much. So, you know, everything in the dosage. It's all about dosage. Red wine, you know, consuming a small amount, it's dosage. It's good for you. A small amount of cottage cheese, no fat cottage cheese, whatever, it's good for you. A small amount of honey, it's good for you. You know, so everything is in the dosage, and also your emotional state at the time. And oh, it's really going into another space now as well. But if you had a bad experience one day, I don't know, having a milkshake or something, or having the cottage cheese or something, when you eat that cottage cheese again, you're going to relive that emotion consciously or subconsciously, mostly subconsciously. So you'll develop an allergy to it. That's another discussion. And I know that Alphonse wants to talk a lot about food, because he said to me that he wants to know how to prepare what. So, okay, Alphonse, you'll all go and get the information from the website. You can copy and paste it. And then, perfect, guys. So I'm only as good as you. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for being part of this great evening. And as soon as I've done the recording, share it widely so that we can, you know, inform more people and grow organically. I think if people can understand properly what they're doing and why they're doing it, and the results that can be achieved, you know, then you've got a winning formula. Then as an educator, as a healer, as someone who's advising people, you know, you're on a winning formula, because so many people right now are just so ready for information and education, and so ready to be well, and have, you know, sick and tired of being sick and tired and stuff. So lots more coming. And those of you who've missed out on previous, just go to the YouTube. There's a lot there. Okay, I'm going to end now, because it's been an hour and a half, guys. So you've indulged yourself, and thank you for being with us, and, you know, for the learning experience for us all, because I'm telling you, as I'm teaching you, your consciousness is rising, so is mine, and we go to higher levels. Okay, I'm able to receive more, and so are you able to receive more. And that's just beautiful. There's Gino. Thank you so much for being part of this. We got Mauritius there too, and we've got to get there too, but I'm going to bypass the vaccination. I'll just wait. I'll sit and wait. Okay, guys, have a good rest of the day, and take all this beautiful information and let it just swirl around and set the scalar wave too. Okay. Marion too. Nice to see you. All right. Bye everyone.